Mr. Speaker, this is a budget of deceit. I repeat that. This is a budget of deceit. It scores high on the art of deceit. It sets out to deceive the people of Guyana.
We are going to create a caste system in this country whereby the inequality is going to be so vast to the extent whereby they are literally going to control this economy.
For every child that will receive a $40,000 because we care cash grant, they will be equally receiving because we do not care more than $500,000 debt burden.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 is funneled and fixed between the treasury and the pockets of friends, families, cronies, and flatterers of the People's Progressive Party to allow the oil money to flow into a small circle without a single drop of the oil money.
Mr. Speaker, Guyana's foreign policy, whilst always important, has assumed the place of paramountcy over the last year. One could not, however, tell this based on the delivery by my colleague across the floor yesterday, who spent 25 of his 30 minutes on everything else except foreign affairs.
Mr. Wanajil and Anampasad, let us be fair. You promised in your campaign, in your extract of a campaign manifesto, you were going to amend that production sharing agreement because we don't know what's making deal. 3.5 years later, you have not changed a word. You have not changed a dot. You know why? Because the deal's sweet to fund all of your projects. Let us be fair.
Was not followed for the procurement of these goods and services? And would it be followed in the spending of the $500 million for this sum that is now for 2024?
Honourable Minister.
Honourable Member, I think an assumption you're making is that the Procurement Act was not followed. The Procurement Act provides for a variety of areas, ways in which one procures goods and services for the government. And of course, 1 is open tender, 2 is selective tender, 3 is restricted tender. And there's also, if the threshold is not over a certain rate, it can be done by ministerial tender board, which could use restricted or selective or even open. And you also then have sole tendering. Sole tendering in specific cases as provided for the Procurement Act. So I think your assumption would be not correct, and that in fact I'm assured that they did follow procurement law as it required by going to, in some cases, selective tender, in other cases, restricted or sole tendering.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Mahipur.
So one question, this is my last question on the item. Would the Honourable Minister be kind enough to lay over the documents to show that the construction of the 50 homes went to the National Tender Board for approval, the purchasing of the minibus, the 13-seater? I believe the Honourable Member said that it was an $18 million purchase. And the Procurement Act does spell out when you utilize what system, whether it's sole sourcing, whether it's three-coat, or whether it's public tendering. Would the Honourable Minister be kind enough to lay over the documents to support the main capital items in this purchase?
Honourable Minister.
Yeah, I will ask the Permanent Secretary to advise me and provide the information to me.
Thank you,
So
Minister.
circulate.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Honourable Minister, the law provides for each project to have a project profile. I assume you have built these 30, or how many houses it is. Yeah. Could you lay over for us the project profile for 2023? And could
the Ministry of Finance to do with budget must have a project profile of some kind. And therefore, what is in the volume 3 is very, what you call just one sentence in terms of MUM, but they would have had to provide some documentation, and we'd have to ask the Office of the President and the Ministry of Finance to provide us with that.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr.
2023 and
Mahipo.
2024.
Thank you, sir. Project code 12-14-100, Office and Residence of the President. There is a budgeted sum here of $67,950,000, and the breakdown tells us it's for the payment of retention and upgrading of facilities. Can the Honorable Minister say what, which of these facilities will be upgraded and what specifically are the works to be done, and whether it's at the Office of the President or the Residency of the President?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Member. There's a rollover project from 2023, the construction of the new training center for the Presidential Guard at Castellani in the Castellani compound. And that is 3,180,000. New projects, you have the upgrade of the electoral system for both OP and State House at 21,820,000. Extension of the training administration building at Castellani for 2,949,000. Remodeling of the kitchen and barracks along with sand filling. The bottom of the building is 30 million at Castellani. Extensive rehabilitation works to the Special Protective Services Office at State House, 10 million. So that's a total of 67,950,000.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipo.
Thank you, sir. Sir, project code 24-05200, land transport. Sir, in 2021, we spent 67,600,000 for the purchasing of vehicles. In 2022, we spent 70,883,000 for the purchasing of vehicles. In 2023, sir, we spent $100 million for the purchasing of vehicles. And here again, we see another $100 million for 2024 for the purchasing of vehicles. Can the Honorable Minister tell us what type of vehicles will be purchased here, and why do we need to purchase so many vehicles since 2021 to now?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Mahipo. I'm sure you heard me earlier where I spoke about when we were dealing with Office of the President and the current budget that they had done a review of the vehicles. I think it was an answer question from Mrs. Lawrence, and that 50 vehicles as a result were boarded in 2023. So that's just to give you an idea of 50 vehicles were boarded, and that the continuous need to keep upgrading the vehicles. After all, it is a number of them relate to the president himself. But in this case, there are 2 SUV presidential guard vehicles, 1 sedan, 1 4x4 double cab pickup, and this is for the new training institute, GTCI, 1 15-seater minibus, 2 4x4 pickups retrofitted for rugged terrains, and 1 canter with a hydraulic lift. These are all for Office of the President, and these are the vehicles that come under this heading for 100 million.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 011 Administration Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Let's go to Program 012 and thank the students at QC for joining us. They have some additional responsibilities. They will shortly leave. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 012, National Policy Development and Presidential Advisory Services, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. And I propose the question. Honourable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 012, National Policy Development and Presidential Advisory Services capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We go to Program 013, Defense and National Security. And I propose the question that the sum stated for this program, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 013, Defense and National Security, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honourable member, Mr. Ramchan, you want to go back? No, GDF is coming up. You're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game. Honourable members, I propose the question that is sum stated for Program 014, Public Policy and Planning capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 014, Public Policy and Planning capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, we look at Program 015, Environmental Management and Compliance capital expenditure. And I propose a question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 015, Environmental Management and Compliance capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. And for this agency, the final item, Program 016, Police Complaint Authority, capital expenditure, and I propose a question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Police Complaints Authority, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Honourable Minister, and the staff of the Office of the President and the several agencies which you have just defended. Thank you very much, staff. And we can now invite the Guyana Defence Force to join the Honourable Minister as their agency comes up. And we now invite honourable members to look at pages 284 and 285. Okay, and just to keep us on track, we've used up all the time allocated for all the heads this morning, and we are back on even keel. So this agency has 30 minutes, and we start now. Honourable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 53, Guyana Defence Force, Program 531, Defense and Security Support current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honourable Member, Mr. Ramjatan. Honourable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 53, Program 531, Defense and Security current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's turn to page 520.
Yeah, I notice we have a disruptor.
I didn't notice that, sir.
It's just, all right.
All right, members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 531, Defense and Security Support Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan.
Sir, under the item number 5100400, I notice a $16 billion for support initiatives from India. Could the Honorable Minister indicate whether that's the sum that we're going to get the 4 Bell helicopters from?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Member. This 16,234,100,661 relate to the provision of 2 aircraft, which is foreign funded, procurement of for choppers, helicopters, equipment these are all billions, of course, not millions. V2OL long range drone systems of another 1.3 billion, and OPV 7 billion. This is to procure a second boat, well, it's OPV for the Coast Guard. So this will be increasing our military infrastructure and equipment.
Thank you, Minister.
Any others?
Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 531, Defense and Security Support Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and staff of the Ghana Defense Force, for taking us through that head. Now let us invite the Honorable Minister and her staff from the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance to join us. Just want to ask the Honorable Prime Minister if his staff is here in the event that Mr. Mahipal is very concise, precise, and courteous to the Honorable Minister. So we may finish even before. Honorable members, now the clock starts, and I invite you to turn to pages 72 and 73. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 061, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the minister to go to line item 6231 and indicate to the House how many vehicles comprise per fleet?
Honorable Minister.
We have 3 cars and 2 motorcycles.
3 cars, 2 motorcycles.
Thank you, Minister.
And 1 bicycle, now and again.
Is that an exercise bicycle? Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the minister indicate whether any of those vehicles, bicycles, tricycles that she has named, when any of them was purchased in 2023?
Honorable Minister.
Sorry, MP. We purchased those vehicles prior to 2023.
Thank you, Minister.
So no vehicles were purchased in 2023.
Follow up?
Honorable Member, please.
Would the minister be able, through you, Mr. Chair, to indicate the vehicle, the oldest vehicle, how many years would it be,
Honorable Minister.
including the motorbike?
The one vehicle that would be older than the others was a want of entry vehicle we got in 2022 to add to our 1 vehicle we had at that time.
Thank you, Minister.
Line item, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you. 6265. Minister, I notice a 50% increase in your other transport, travel, and postage. Could you explain to us the fact that you have all these vehicles, bicycles, tricycles in working condition? Why is it your other transport is going up? I see your staff just went up by 1 person.
Honorable Minister.
6265 deals with other, Kate, and this is really not your regular run around Georgetown, or this is more to do with out of town or in the interior. So this caters for a number of charters into hinterland areas, including the region that I'm responsible for.
Which is?
But Region 7. So this includes travel outside of Georgetown, as well as where we have to have aircraft, boats, etc., would be covered under this item 6265.
Minister,
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Minister, am I to assume that your staff have been paying increase in fares for travels out of Georgetown, the hinterland region 7, etc.?
Honorable Minister.
Increase in terms of fares for the aircraft?
Yes, in terms of the cost for some of the distances we have to go, and include fuel, the cost of fuel in some interior areas.
So we
Yes,
can understand the plight of the people in those regions.
we understand the
Yes,
plight
Mr.
of many of our
Speaker.
people, and we have to
Mr.
reach
Chair.
them to be able to address their concerns.
Mr. Chair, line item 6281, security.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Thank you, sir. Is this a private security or is this the Guyana Police Force?
Honorable Minister.
Honorable Member, this is a private security through Office of the President.
And how many security personnel we're talking about here? And
You mean on a daily
armed
basis?
Security?
On a daily basis, it's one building. There should be one from morning to evening, and then the other one takes over. So it should be at least 2 guards.
12-hour
Two guards, yeah. 2 guards a day,
Baton or armed?
unarmed.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Line item 6284. Mr. Chair, I note approximately 100% increase in this line item from 6.4 million to $100 million. Could the minister indicate to the House what additional expenses will be incurred under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
In the 2023, we had a number, we were the host for the Commonwealth Association of Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies. We were also the host of the in situ visit by the Inter-American Convention Against Corruption in assessing our sixth cycle report to the Commission, the OAS, as well as the in situ visit for the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights that came in December on a promotion and technical visit. So we had a number of those. We also have our Ministry Human Rights and Anti-Corruption Expo that started in 2022 as a Human Rights Expo. Last year became a Human Rights and Anti-Corruption Expo, and this will continue, as well as other areas of stakeholders, conferences, workshops, and consultancies that we will use under this head. 6284.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Go ahead, Honorable
Thank
Member.
you, Minister. Minister, all of those you did in 2023, and you only spent $56.4 million. So you have not indicated to the House what else you're doing to incur the other $45+ million budgeted here.
Part of this was in terms of what was not spent was that as a ministry that will collaborate and work with the Attorney General's chambers in relation to constitutional reform and Constitutional Reform Commission, and hopefully in terms of assisting. And so money was put in our budget to assist with what would be regional stakeholder outreaches by the Constitutional Reform Commission. And as you know, that has not been set up as yet. So that was part of the reason why a large chunk of money came back, was not used by the ministry. This year, we believe that as soon as the, the nominees come in from the various agencies and political parties that have been invited, that the commission can get up and running very quickly, and that we have put back in money because part of our ministry deals with national stakeholders, and we work with over 100 NGOs in terms of stakeholder collaboration. So this is where we will work with the Attorney General's chambers and with the Constitutional Reform Commission from a budgetary and otherwise respect.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Dr. Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 6224, print and non-print materials. I noticed there's over 200% increase from 700, the revised budget for 2023, 700 million, it's now it's 2.5, 700,000, $2.5 million. So in this technological and digital age, we would have thought we would have tried to be paperless and make use of the technology. In addition to that, I noticed that under the staffing details, there isn't anybody for clerical, there's nothing, zero on the clerical and office support. So are you outsourcing these materials?
First of all our employees are contracted employees. They're all young and have chosen to be contracted. So there are no persons that are only one person is a fixed establishment. 6264, print and non-print. We had placed ads and so on in the public information, but we used a lot of the social media for that purposes. But included in this, MP Cummings, is the printing of our reports. We have to submit as a treaty country to a number of international treaties, both human rights, anti-corruption, and others. We have to submit our reports, and I'll give you an example. of the submission of the second assessment to the UN Convention Against Corruption was over 380 pages plus. So although you send it electronically, you have to also have hard copies, and so many appendices also. So what we've decided to do, instead of not only having everything electronically, but to be able to print them and have actual bound documents that become records of the ministry as well as the electronic. So this is where there is going to be an increase, as we have a number of reports that are pending to be published, submitted already, but pending to be published so that they can become available for research purposes, as well as putting them on our website so people can look at them.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 061, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's flip over to pages 74 and 75. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Program 062, Parliamentary Affairs, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 062, Parliamentary Affairs, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We turn to pages 76 and 77. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 063, governance, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. And I put the question that the sum stated for program 063, governance, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let's turn to page 490. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for program 061, policy development and administration, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for program 061, policy development and administration, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 063, governance, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 063, governance, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let me thank the Honorable Minister for her tenacity, her staff for being with us, and the Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul, for being so agreeable. Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the break for an hour, and then we come back with the Honorable Prime Minister.
The road will only and the execrable the time when though we may criticize it, this is our own, we love it and we need to keep it, we have that right, so we ain't giving up no more, we ain't giving up no more,
Mr. Speaker, this is a budget of deceit. I repeat that. This is a budget of deceit. It scores high on the art of deceit. It sets out to deceive the people of Guyana.
We are going to create a caste system in this country whereby the inequality is going to be so vast to the extent whereby they are literally going to control this economy.
For every child that will receive a $40,000 because we care cash grant, they will be equally receiving because we do not care more than $500,000 debt burden.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 is funneled and fixed between the treasury and the pockets of friends, families, cronies, and flatterers of the People's Progressive Party to allow the oil money to flow into a small circle without a single drop of the oil money.
Mr. Speaker, Guyana's foreign policy, whilst always important, has assumed the place of paramountcy over the last year. One could not, however, tell this based on the delivery by my colleague across the floor yesterday, who spent 25 of his 30 minutes on everything else except foreign affairs.
There's someone in jail. And I'm concerned. Let us be fair. You promised in your campaign, in your extract of a campaign manifesto, you were going to amend that production sharing agreement because we don't know what making deal. 3.5 years later, you have not changed a word. You have not changed a dot. You know why? Because the deal's sweet to fund all of your projects. Let us be fair.